We have with us Dr. Kunal Sarkar, the eminent cardiac surgeon, and we consider him to be one of the saviors of the human society. So can we have the AV, please?
Madam, thank you very much. When you showed me dressed as a penguin in my operating dress, you just reminded me that I have an OT waiting, and a lot of angry anesthetists will confront me when I finally reach the theatre. Respected members of the JIS faculty, my dear students, and all my respected dignitaries present this morning. About 200 years ago, one of the most popular British authors ever born, probably only challenged by the likes of William Shakespeare, wrote these immortal lines. And when he started writing one of the most popular novels in the world called The Tale of Two Cities, Charles Dickens opens Tales of Two Cities with these immortal lines: "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." Friends, as we celebrate, as we commemorate, we do remember that we live in a country, we live in a society, we live in times which are not insular, which are not indifferent, and which are not protected in any way from the crude realities of life. And it will be the challenge of every single Indian citizen. It will be the challenge of every single Indian student for today and tomorrow to overcome these challenges and lead India and lead Indian society to where it belongs. You are in a haloed educational environment. You are in this great country of ours called India. And remember that India in the contemporary of this present world, you look at a world map, India looks very funny. Somewhere tucked in the southeast corner of this world, which resulted from the continental drift, from the continental shift. India is a very peculiar place, young men, young boys and girls. It is one of the only countries in the world which became independent between 1940s and 1950s, which chose to follow the path of democracy. There isn't a single country which has become independent post-Second World War, with the exception of Israel. That is a different history, that's a different place, where the founders of India, through the likes of the Mahatma Gandhi, through the likes of Jawaharlal Nehru, did not take a part of cutting, bleeding, differentiating, being autocratic, being marshaled. We told ourselves, a country that was predominantly Hindu chose a symbol that was predominantly Buddhist, and behind and seated below the Dharma Chakra, India promises itself that it is not just going to be a political democracy, India is going to be a social democracy. And your generation has to remember that what is the role of education in India? Education in India is as important as respiration is to human physiology. Education in India is as important as circulation is to human physiology. Because yes, we are the country who lived through a millennium of colonial rule of one form or the other, and finally in 1947, when we became independent, we had a literacy rate of 12 to 14%. We had a life expectancy rate of hardly 38, 39 years. So when we look at society today, when we look at all the gruesome things happening around us, let us also spend 5 minutes and tell ourselves that through a lot of difficulties, through a lot of challenges, we weathered a lot of rough weather, we have seen through a lot of storms, and yet this society of 140 crore people today can hold its head high and say that we are the only country in the world who in the last 20 years have lifted more people out of poverty than is the population of Europe. We are the only country who in known civilization, who in a matter of 3 decades is able to improve its infant mortality rate and its maternal mortality rate by a factor of 300%. We are the only country in the surface of civilization who so far has taken a jump from 12% literacy to almost 82% literacy today, but the question remains, what happens to the remaining 18%? We have achieved a lot. We have done a lot in spite of the difficulties, in spite of the challenges, in spite of the political upheavals, in spite of all the negatives that we see around us. It has been a country whose journey has been through a journey of assimilation. And today, when you take a huge step into one of the most critical stages of education, all students think, I'm going to start college, I'm going to start engineering education, it is going to be a dreadful time. Yes, it is all a matter of comparatives, it is all a matter of being relevant. I was the first batch of students who appeared for the 10+2 system in our state. It was absolutely hell, it was absolutely horrible. Nobody knew what the syllabus was, nobody knew what the exam will be like. And I was thinking that, my God, why am I so unfortunate? What did we do to deserve this? And suddenly I thought of my father, whom I had lost about 15 years ago. And that reminded me that young boy, when he was sitting his Class 10 exams in Chittagong, currently in Bangladesh, how did his exams go? As he sat to write his paper, he was arrested from the examination hall. Because for 2 months before the election, they were hiding in the hills of Chittagong in the Jalalabad forest in the aftermath of the Chittagong armed constabulary raid of Surjo Sen. They were 14-year-olds, they were 15-year-olds who were not afraid to give their life and die for the country. So compared to that generation, we've had a good time. And compared to our generation, you will have your challenges. But I'm sure your challenges will open the path to a new future that is there in Bengal, to a new future that is there in India. There will be a lot of changes. And in your life, you are in the domain of technical education. You are in the domain of science. Remember, the discovery of science predates the discovery of modern humanity. Fire was discovered even before Homo sapiens were born. The first discovery of civilization is fire. And the concept of fire predates the concept of modern humanity. It is not very often that you consider of a concept where the concept of science comes before the concept of the modern anatomical human being. There will be a lot of changes around you, and that shapes the future that is going to shape your career, your times as well. This globalization of science, lot of Indian scientists in space research, pure sciences in United States, Europe, etc. Why did that happen? That happened because in 1961, the Yuri Gagarin in his Soyuz space shuttle was the first human to go on space, and America was stunned. America said, we have been beaten by the Russians, so we have to open our doors to the global scientists, get the brains from India, get the brains from China, and compete and get a better of Russia. How did India become the software hub of the world? It was only a date in the calendar. The date in the calendar was 1st of January, the year 2000, the Y2K phenomenon. That the Indian software engineers were so clever that 1 year ahead they had worked out the solution that how the computers are going to handle the date 0000 when you put in the date digitally. So it is with our intelligence, with our knowledge. Our society has not been based on arms, ammunitions, warfare, struggle. We do have our disturbances. You must view our society as a knowledge-based society. Middle East has oil. Australia has mineral. South Africa has gold. India has intelligence. India has the world's largest bank of educable people. It is the only country on the planet where 5% of its population in one way or the other is involved in the educational ecosystem. So yes, we will react. We will get distraught. We will get depressed with all the disturbances around us. We are social animals. We are social creatures. We can be intelligent, but not at the cost of our spine. We can be clever, but not at the cost of our conscience. When necessary, you engineers, we doctors, all teachers, all professionals, all educators, if necessary, will have to stand up and show the society and show its administrators what is the right path ahead. Remember that we are the world's largest knowledge economy as it exists today. And you are extremely, extremely lucky to be in a part of an institution which is so energetic, which has a great feeling of initiative. I have visited your institute a couple of times, and you know, whenever you want inspiration, you walk around the corridors of your Narula Institute of Technology, and in one of the walls is inscribed the life story of Sardar Jodh Singh. Don't just walk past it. Stand below it, stand beside it, spend half a minute, read what is written, and when I meet you next time, tell me what you have gathered from it. Technology is important, so is society. Chandrayaan is important, very important, extremely important. The South Pole of Moon is very important. But when I visited the Golden Temple of Amritsar, I was just flabbergasted by the chapati making technology in Amritsar. It is no less a feat. It is no less a testimony to human social skill when tens and thousands of people queue up in that golden temple and you have almost an automated line of people working selflessly and serving the community. And that reminds us, friends, that our little time on earth has to be well spent. You are fortunate, you are lucky. You have a great team of teachers to guide you, to inspire you. Enjoy your education, fulfill your education, but at the same time, be relevant to the society we exist in. And when I start with Dickens, who was a British author, you probably have to end with an American poet called Robert Frost. And Robert Frost, in his dying days, wrote a line when he was asked, what are the challenges of our lives? Robert Frost said that the woods are lovely, dark and deep, and I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Enjoy, educate, and serve the community. God bless you all. Thank you.